Hello,
Well,
and kia ora, friends. How
yeah,
are
what
you? Welcome to the Brickanista Broadcast Network and to What, When, Why Wednesdays. And I'm here with my buddy, Brick Literacy.
I
And Brick,
tried to
I got to
make
remember to point
myself.
in the right direction.
Yeah, I
There
I
he
tried
is.
to. It looks like we're uneven. I tried to do that and I dropped my pen, so that was a disaster
I
already.
can
But
I can change it. Do you
no,
want me
you're
to
good.
change
You're
it?
good.
There we go. Here, are we now even?
All right, now we're level. Okay.
Okay. If we try to do a high five over here, can we
Oh,
do that?
dang it.
We'll get
Boom.
used to it eventually.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
well, welcome back to the Brickanista Broadcast Network. And for those of you who are familiar with what has been happening in the US, we had started What, When, Why Wednesdays about 6 weeks ago. And then they made the announcement we're not going to be having Lego Masters US until the September timeframe. And because of that, Remy and I were talking about, well, what can we do kind of in
Mhm.
between this time? And I said, you know what? Why don't we do Lego Masters New Zealand? Because a lot of people have been covering Australia, and I actually have ties to New Zealand. And it was really wonderful that we've already lined up the first 3 weeks with several of my New Zealand friends. So I'm super, super excited that we're able to do this. We had Kingy Biddle last week. That was a lot of fun. And he's my cousin, and it was really great having him help us kick off the show. And we also had Chief Brick Geek from Las Vegas who joined us, and he was the one who got us connected with how to watch the episodes. And hello, Glenn, and hello, Stephen Gamer Philippines. How are you? Welcome.
Welcome.
And I think right now I'm so super excited, as I mentioned. It's been a great way to reconnect with some of my friends in New Zealand too. And aloha hoy, Brickaroo
Oh,
Bonsai. Good to have you here.
welcome.
Yes.
Zach, welcome.
And Zach Martinez is here too. Everybody's in the house because they're super excited
Yeah,
because we have another one
should
of
be.
my Kiwi friends who has come to join us all the way from New Zealand. Please help me welcome Kath Cherrie. Hey, Kath.
Kia ora,
How
everyone.
Kia
Sure.
ora. How are you? See, now everybody will know by the end of this series how to say Kia ora. So the next
Yes.
time you have a Kiwi friend, you can say hello. So yeah, I wanted to just introduce Kath. I've known Kath for about the last 5 years. We're both members of this similar Toastmasters club, as I mentioned about last week when I talked about Kingy. And so Kath's experience with Lego happens to be those of working as a mom and a grandmother, supporting her kids and her grandkids with their love of Lego. And I said that is great because it's
Yes.
always good to have the perspective of family members with regard
Mhm.
to Lego. And she took her grandson to Legoland at Windsor about 8 years ago. So I think that's also interesting. About we could talk a little bit about Legoland as an experience. I have never been to Legoland.
Yeah, I
So,
did not know they existed until 2 years ago. So,
well, I think this would be a great topic for us to talk about as well, in addition to the show. So I was really, really excited that
mhm.
Kath said, "Yeah, I'll come on your show." And
Oh, yeah.
and Kath, for those of you, I put Kath Cherrie in the little promo that I had mentioned earlier, but she also goes by Organic Crafter on Instagram. So, and the other thing that Kath is really a wonderful crafter because whenever I would go to New Zealand, she had this amazing arrange of homemade cards that she had put together that were hand cut
Mhm.
and stamped. And I have some of those that I've received as gifts, and I really appreciate that, all the time you put into that. So it's good to have you here. And the way our format of our show, Kath, is that if you, we can ask you at least right now. Why don't we talk a little bit about your experience at Legoland,
Oh,
and then we're going to go talk about the episode. And she's seen the episode too, so she'll give us her comments too from
no,
a
that's
kind of a
great.
Kiwi perspective,
Um,
especially. We won't say right now, but right before the show started, she had a visceral reaction to this show. That's all I'll say. She had a visceral reaction to episode 2.
Yeah.
And so we'll talk about that.
quick clarification. Is it, Glenn asks, is it organic rafter or organic crafter? Can we see that? Can we just make sure we have the correct
Did I
spelling here
misspell
for
it?
Glenn?
I didn't think I misspelled it.
Just
Yeah, it is organic crafter. So two
Two
C's. in the
C's.
middle.
okay.
Organic
2 C's, right.
crafter.
Yes.
Though I imagine if she was rafting while she was crafting,
Yes.
she'd be an organic crafter rafter.
That's a separate account. That's a separate art form.
But
not
if
to
you
take away
merge them
from
together,
organic
you could
crafters.
make it like a excursion.
Yeah.
Go crafting while you're rafting.
Or,
I think you'd have to be a whole lot braver than I am to go rafting.
No scissors,
while
though.
you're crafting.
Because you can't have like the scissors punching the raft.
no.
No.
All right. That's something that we will never forget.
Yeah,
We'll
no,
say
good to
Kath
clear
Cherrie,
that
the organic crafter rafter. So, so Steve Gamer was asking if you have a YouTube channel. Do you have a YouTube channel?
No. I keep thinking I should, but I haven't got to yet. So
Or
maybe
start
this
Twitch.
experience will get me motivated.
Yes.
Tell you. Yes.
You could do that on YouTube, or crafting is actually really popular now on Twitch, where you can just put a video on you and talk to the audience while you're working on your crafts. And there's a lot of Lego people who do that too.
Oh, cool.
I think we got a lot of laughs from the organic crafter rafter.
An organic rafter would be like taking a log and just using that, as opposed to making your own raft, probably.
Right.
It's probably not recommended.
Oh, somebody needs to remember this for mock improv. The next
organic
time,
rafting.
Yeah, so I don't think
activity.
Kath knows about mock improv. What we do with mock improv is we ask the audience for locations and for ideas. So I would not be surprised if one of our future mock improvs, one of the suggestions will be organic crafting or organic rafting. So, and oh wow, Steven says once you get a YouTube channel that he's going to subscribe.
Yeah,
So,
and if you do at some point, we can put it in the comments or the description of the video. So
right, yeah,
no rush.
definitely.
So, thank you.
Well, first let me ask you. So when you went to Legoland, you went to the one in Windsor, and and so this was a big excursion trip that you had with your family, and then who came up with the idea to go to Legoland?
Oh, that was definitely me. So we were staying in England with our son and his family who live over there. And he has, at that stage, our grandson was about 7 or 8, and it was coming up to his birthday. And we, of course, don't get to see him for his birthday very often, and we wanted to do something special. So we decided we'd take him. So my son's family lives in Cambridge, so that was a couple of hours driving, and I had to drive on English motorways, which is quite different for me.
I'm sure that's harrowing if you're not used to it.
But they still drive on the same side you do, right?
Yeah.
They both drive on the right side.
Drive on the other side of the road, I'd be a disaster.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, so it would be harrowing for us.
Outside of the road. So we drove there. It was a couple of hours, I think 2.5 hours, and there were lots of activities to do, but James, our grandson, was quite hesitant about doing some. He was very happy to sit and build with the Lego at those kind of parts of it, but the rides and the things, he said no, he wouldn't do that.
Interesting.
So, it was really.
I'm actually kind of like that too. I think I would rather just sit there and build all day than go on a bunch, because half of the time you're doing the rides, you're standing in line for like a 10 or 15 minute ride at most. Yeah.
It's kind of like going to a steakhouse and ordering a salad. You don't go to a Lego thing to ride a roller coaster. Like, where's the Lego? Let me get the Lego.
Get the steak. But if you're a
Yeah.
vegan, you would go order the salad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, it was loads of fun, and
Mhm.
there was a shop there that sold things even cheaper. So we got to go shopping
Oh, nice.
and
Ooh.
buy him some things. And I'd said to friends back in New Zealand, "Do you want anything? We could get you something." And the daughter of one of my friends who's growing up, you know, she was an adult. She said, yes, Kath, I want this and this if you can get it. So it was lovely. I went shopping for her, and then of course I had to fit it in my bag to fly home. And yeah, and she needed all the boxes as well as everything still in the bag. And so it was a challenge, but it was
Yes.
so worth it.
Not to crush the boxes.
No, yeah, that's good because they do sell exclusive sets there. You know,
Mhm.
at least I've heard. You know, I haven't actually been to one, but
Right.
Yeah.
And
So
Legoland badges too, I think.
Yeah. A wee while later, our son and daughter-in-law took James to whatever it's called. I'm not sure what it's called in Denmark because, of course, you know, it's really close over.
oh, is it the
Feels like
Lego
a long
house?
way away from where
The
we
Lego
are.
house and the original Legoland in Billund.
Yes, yeah.
Mhm.
So they had a wonderful time there. But again,
Wow.
I understand James just wanted to build. He didn't want to go on the rides then. So
Well,
yeah.
if he went to Billund, he would have also seen the Lego house, which is the big museum as well.
Oh,
And they have massive dinosaurs all built out of Lego, and they do have some areas for the kids to build and adults to build too. But to combine that back to back, it sounds like that must have been just amazing. You got a little taste when you got to Windsor, and then you got to Billund to see the big main event, really.
yeah.
I have yet to go to a Legoland. Someday.
Yeah,
I think you need to put it on your to-do list.
It's got to be on my to-do list. And Kath knows I don't like using the term bucket list because it's kind of like, you know, you're counting down the time until you kick the bucket. It's like dream destination list or to-do list. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Have you been, Remy? You haven't been
No,
either?
no, I have not been to Billund. As I said, I didn't know these things existed 2 years ago. I had totally forgotten about Lego until the pandemic. So,
and now
yeah,
look at you.
would
You're
definitely love to
co-hosting
go
a
to
show.
Yeah, it's
And also Remy has his own show as well. So for those of you who are not following Remy, go to Brick Literacy at Instagram. He often does live Instagram feeds from there. And then he also has a lot of really good posts on his Instagram account.
I usually try to do a Speed Champions build every Sunday. So, but you know, for the past couple of weeks, I've just been occupied with building for Bricks by the Bay. So,
yes, and we're going to see each other in person next week.
We are. So,
next week,
it's exciting.
We're having lunch.
Yep.
So thank you, Kath, for that background, because I do want to go to Legoland someday. That will be really great. And before we get started on the episode, are you going to be okay, Kath? We don't want to traumatize you or anything with your visceral reaction.
I'm getting over it. I've watched it twice so that I'm
okay. Okay. If we need to, put you in the break room and then bring you back, let us know.
Content warning for this episode. This is the destruction episode. You know, they put one of these in every season of Lego Masters. Build a thing and then destroy it.
Yeah.
So, you know, this is it.
It's kind of like we've been desensitized to it already because
we just had
been through
an entire season of just
so many seasons
and wreck builds.
So there's always going to be one where they destroy something in some sort of innovative way, and they're trying to put twists in it, but in the end, they get destroyed.
Or like build this thing on the wall and hope it doesn't fall. That would be terrible for ratings. No.
So Zach also wanted to mention that there are 2 Legolands to choose from in California and New York. So someday I will make it to the one in California. That's the closest one for me. So cool.
Yeah,
And
but
as a recap from last week, there are 6 different teams, and nobody went home at the end of season 1. So, spoiler alert. Sorry, I should have said that before I continued. But if this is a spoiler show, so if you are, we'll go through the builds, and then Remy will warn you when we're going to announce what happens next.
yes. Well, the winners and things like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, this was a pretty cool episode. Before we get too far in the episode, I do want to highlight one thing that I saw today. I guess how could we ever forget Florida? It is foremost in our minds.
I'd be happy to forget Florida. I don't like Florida. So that's another story.
Yes. But yeah, let's take a look at this build real quick of hang on, let me find it.
See, so this is great. The chat helps educate all of us too.
Yeah.
And I think this is the first time Kath has been on a YouTube stream where it's been live, where you have this interaction too. So, and then Glenn promises not to tell us who won. Thank you.
Yeah.
And Legoland is located at what used to be Cypress Gardens. Okay. Thank you, Brickaroo Bonsai.
Yeah. So it is, it's Pride Month in the US. I'm not sure if they have Pride Month in New Zealand. But yeah, and if y'all are not following Yana River Blue, you should be, because she posted this build today, and this is just so incredible. I love it so much. Not only for the message, but for just this circle, this technical circle, and doing all the hands just
so perfect.
Just it's so perfect. And as someone who's tried to wrangle these little Lego hands before, it's a challenge. So hats off to you, Yano. Great build.
Well, and her ID actually on Instagram is Femme from the Block.
So right.
I just made this. Actually, I should have taken away Facebook, but just Femme from the Block on Instagram.
But yeah, that's all. Happy Pride. Don't be, a jerk. That's all.
Don't be a jerk.
Don't be a jerk. There's still certain accounts out there posting nonsense.
Yeah. Well,
don't follow those accounts.
It doesn't matter what month it is. There are jerks out there sometimes, but we're not jerks here.
But yeah, so let's get into the episode, and we can start with. Hang on.
Apparently, we're doing a sound off of time zones. So we have New Mexico here. I know Steve Gamer is in the Philippines. We have Kath here from New Zealand. Brickaroo Bonsai, I think you're in Florida, right? Brickaroo? Yeah. And then Zach, I'm sorry, I'm in Seattle. And Remy is in Virginia.
I'm in Virginia, and they announced today that they're building a new Lego factory about 3 hours east of me in Richmond.
Oh.
So.
Wow.
That is a thing that's happening.
Is that someplace you plan to stalk in the near future?
I don't know. It doesn't help me, because every time they put a Lego facility in, it's always 3.5 hours away.
I was going to say, that's a long way to stalk something.
It's it's the same distance as the closest Lego store. I can either drive to Raleigh, or I can drive 3.5 miles east. Although I don't know if they'll let you, just pick up Lego from the factory directly. So.
You never know. They do factory tours in Billund. Possible.
Yeah.
You never know.
If I'm still living here by that time, I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah. So Kath, we were talking at the end of the last episode that Remy's thinking about moving to New Zealand, and we suggested that he could do that if he got married to somebody down there.
Yeah, my friends keep talking about moving there. I don't know if they will or not, but no, my job may be moving me to Dallas, but that's a whole other thing.
It's an amazing place. So someday you got to make it there.
But yeah, I definitely like
it on your dream destination list. Yeah.
But yeah, here's our episode, introduction. The episode is called Bowled Over, and that is a cricket reference. Now, Kath, do you enjoy cricket? Do you follow it?
Yes, I do. Well, got family who follow it, so kind of have to. and particularly the one-day version I like. And I
Mhm.
really, the cricket uniform that Di's wearing, that
Mhm.
came from the 80s, I think it was,
Oh, wow.
when New Zealand was really, one of the top teams at the one-day game, and
Mhm.
that's what they wore. So that's quite an iconic uniform. So for
Mhm.
cricket people in New Zealand, that uniform would have meant a lot.
Oh, that's
I'm
cool.
so glad you're sharing that, because for us, we just saw a cool uniform, right,
Yeah.
that he was wearing. So thank you. See, this is why it's good we have local Kiwi people who are on the show.
Yeah, here's I guess a better view of the uniform, and that team is the Black Caps.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
it's unusual that, since you mentioned that's the team uniform, most of the time when you see Kiwi teams, they're in black and white.
Yeah.
And to see those colors is really unusual.
So they don't wear those colors anymore. They wear, I'm not sure. Do they wear black and white? I'm not sure, but I know they don't wear those colors anymore. It's kind of like retro.
Oh, a retro. See, I'm so glad you said that.
And you mentioned that your favorite format is the one-day games.
Yes.
What are the different lengths? Because I don't think people in America realize how long a game of cricket can continue for.
So as far as I'm aware, there's 3 main formats that our New Zealand team at that level play. So there's tests, which go for 5 days, which can be very, very long, and both teams play in white for those. Then there's a one-day format, which each team plays for 50 overs, and there's 6. They bowl 6 times. That's an over. So they, one team bowls for 50 overs, and the other one bats unless they all get out, and then they swap over. And then there's one whose I've just forgotten the name, but it's a really fast one. It only takes a couple of hours. So the one-day one goes for a whole day, basically, and then there's a fast one that goes for a couple of hours that I haven't seen very much, but the bits that I have seen looks really exciting.
Yeah, I haven't watched a lot of cricket, but I know that they can go on. They used to go on for days and days and days.
Yeah.
So it's a really interesting sport. And this mace here, this is the what is it called?
So that's the world. Yeah, I hear you, Zach.
It's the world Test Championship mace, and New Zealand won this in 2021. I should have written down the exact title, but this is what you get when you essentially win the Super Bowl. And the Super Bowl being you have to play it for 5 days straight at the highest level of competitive cricket. So that's very cool. So that's what this represents. And because this episode is bowled over, here's the mace, and oh no. So yes,
that beautiful mace was destroyed.
Impact episode, and they call the bowler machine there. They call it Trent. Is there a famous New Zealand player named Trent?
He's one of our top bowlers. Is Trent?
Okay.
So that's why it was called that. Yes.
Interesting.
Okay. All right, that's cool.
This is why we have a local on the show.
So here's another shot of this, and
wow,
it's a pretty fun explosion here. And these are the wickets. You have to bowl again, and this is the platform that they're gonna stack their builds on. Okay, so let's get into the episode. They have 10. This was a 10-hour challenge, and basically the idea was to create. The criteria was, how well they each had like a random country assigned to them, So the build had to represent the country and also create the biggest smashiness is the term that they used. So yeah, this is Emily and Sarah's tree. They drew India, or Emily and Sarah's build. They drew India, and they're
I
making
think you
this
had
banyan
the
tree.
drawing on the
Yeah.
previous slide.
The
There it is.
banyan tree here. And so this is just a little shot of their work in progress. I just liked the tigers. Sorry.
Those are adorable.
Yeah, these just the little tigers. And
So
let's
somebody
see.
wants to know, was the wicket sticky?
Is the
Yeah.
wicket?
It's talking about a sticky wicket, but it's not. I don't understand that particular cricket terminology to explain it. So I don't know.
Is
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's this is, you'll have to get used to, Kath, that this chat is a pretty funny, sarcastic chat. So just like they were asking you if you were an organic rafter. So just have to get used to the nature of our chat.
Sorry, I thought I had that other slide in the right order, but here's another shot of progress for Emily and Sarah building this wonderful tree here.
That tree is just beautiful. I would love to create something like that, but 10 hours just for me, it would take longer than that. Yeah.
Something I noticed with them when they were putting things down, especially that green base at the bottom, they had a little like a hammer and were hammering it. So what was that for? What's that about?
That's an actual Lego tool. We saw this on LegoMasters US season 1 as well. People just using the hammer, just because. And I didn't know about that until I saw them using it either. But just the act of putting bricks together, cumulatively, it takes a toll on your fingers. So the hammer really helps you put down a lot of bricks and make sure they're secure, and you don't have to constantly be applying that pressure to your hands. That's what the hammer is for.
Yeah, it ensures that there's clutch too. That's a term that we use a lot. And Zizou's here. Hey, Zizou.
Yes, welcome, Zizou. And they also had to, as part of the challenge, incorporate these colors in the build. So inside everyone's cricket ball, they had the colors of that country's team. They had the blue and orange here. So we'll see that later.
That's the colors of the Indian cricket team playing. Those cricket ball, Lego cricket balls were amazing. And that they were this beautiful ball shape, and then they came apart. Those ones. I thought that was a beautiful build.
Yeah,
these are fun. If any Lego builders are looking to make a sphere, Marianne Asama sells a tutorial for that.
Right. Model building secrets is her tag.
Yeah, that's where I learned to make one. But yeah, it's always neat when you see like round shapes in Lego.
And since you have that up, you notice that they put around the buzzer a Lego built box as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to kind of add to it.
Just something fun and flavorful,
And just to be more precise, a Lowell sphere, which I'm assuming is named after Lowell, who created that.
A guy named Lowell.
A guy named Lowell, yes. And I'm just going to put in the chat, model building secrets is Marianne, her tag on Instagram. She's been on our show before for Mock Improv.
Yeah.
We were talking about that
she's
earlier.
Like, there are Lego Masters, and then there are people that are like a tier above them, like her and Economico and people like that.
Definitely.
But yeah, she's awesome. So let's go. Okay, so now this is Liam and Emily, and they drew Canada.
Yes.
And so they started off trying to build a beaver, but then they mentioned that's like brown on top of brown on top of a brown log. So they like pivoted to this welcome center.
And we should mention too, they picked Canada. And so there was a lot of discussion with Robin Sather, the co-host, because he's Canadian. So there was a lot of good banter there as well.
Yeah.
And apparently Glenn is retracting his Lowell sphere, saying, actually, I think the spheres they use are not Lowell's type of spheres.
Yeah, these particular spheres are a little modified. You know, they're not exactly that design, but that's a nice thing about Lego. You can make it your own. So yeah, here's a progress build of their welcome center with this maple syrup here. And let's see. Okay, so now here is Amy and Adam. They had the kangaroo lifeguard.
Right. They had Australia.
Yeah, they had Australia.
Green and yellow is big for them.
And just, I don't know, there was a moment where they were discussing like, I want this brown, no dark brown, no light brown. No. I just found that very entertaining that they had this rapport. And like this shot is from him saying, you see what I'm trying to do here, right? And he's trying to like adjust something. And she's like, yeah, boom. And like, so they just have a really great way of working together, I thought.
Yeah, they're adorable. And Kingy last week mentioned that they're wearing now the new New Zealand uniform for people. It's like almost like a Hawaiian shirt, but you'll notice that every week that the teams have a similar kind of way of dressing to identify themselves as teams, and they got the colorful shirts.
Yeah. Is this very common in New Zealand, Kath? These kind of shirts?
Yes, particularly in summer. Yes, it is. But yeah, we like lots of color generally.
Cool. All right, so let's see who else we have next. Okay, so this is Jono and Dan. They're kiwi fruit riding a sheep.
Yes.
And this is their progress picture. So their idea was to put a bunch of these round sections into the kiwi fruit and have them on top of the sheep.
Well, they got New Zealand. We should go back to the country they got was New Zealand. And the funny thing about this, go back to the second one too, or the build, is that Jono is standing in front of the sheep, and the sheep has really skinny legs, which I thought was pretty amusing. But this kind of goes back to when we were talking last week about the dog head. And the sculpting that Jono does for this team is pretty amazing. And you can see he's wearing the tonga too again this week. So we had a long discussion with Kingy last week about the tonga. Okay, take care, Stephen Gamer. Thanks for stopping by.
No worries.
Good old Dan, also known as Between the Bricks. Yes. And I've invited Dan to be on the show. So he's checking with Jono to see on their schedules. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to get them on in a couple weeks. Yeah.
So yeah, there's this sheep build. Now, is this a common sight in New Zealand here where you have the kiwi riding the sheep?
Yeah, no, it's not a common sight. But it's
not at all.
Cool.
But it does happen.
Yeah, well, no.
Okay.
Well, and also
sheep are very common, and kiwi fruit are very common.
Okay.
Putting them together outside of the kitchen, I'm not sure.
Okay. All right.
And we have to clarify kiwi fruit versus kiwi, because kiwi is often a slang term used for referring to a New Zealander, but the kiwi that they are referring to is the bird. The national bird. But kiwi fruit, on the other hand, has the similar fuzzy fur on the outside, but it's very different. So I'm surprised they chose a kiwi fruit rather than a kiwi bird to be riding on the sheep.
So a kiwi fruit, like they started out being Chinese gooseberries, that's what they were called here, and then they became very popular, and they're quite a big export product for us. So in lots of places in the world, they are known as kiwis rather than kiwi fruit. So Yeah, it is quite iconic for New Zealand.
That's cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Which
They probably No, they probably just chose the fruit just because of the shape,
well,
as
and
opposed to
also
like,
being able to get the green interior, which is
Yeah.
more interesting, I think, color wise.
But yeah, we'll see more of that later. So now,
Look,
here's,
Glenn also has a comment saying, as New Zealand citizens are Kiwi, I can see them riding sheep.
oh, okay.
Glenn,
And
I
he
might
also
have to
likes
try
kiwi
that.
fruit.
Yeah, so this is Glenn and Jake, and they drew England. So they, how did I put it in? Yeah, they're guarding England's finest tea. That was the theme of their build. Here's some progress shots. You can see the soldier here just beginning to take shape. Yeah, and there's their colors. This is kind of like blue and dark blue that they had in these in their cricket ball.
And that big grey thing, of course, is their magnificent teapot. It was fabulous.
Oh yes, this I tried to get some shots of the interior of this teapot because I wasn't quite sure how they did this. It would be interesting to ask them how they made that, because it looks like they may have used like clip and bar technique, but I'm not sure. Either way, yeah, it was a great teapot.
We may be able to get them on our show too. So we're working behind the scenes.
Fingers crossed. We have to write that down. Like, how did you do the teapot?
Maybe we could get a build technique. Oh, that would be cool if we had like a workshop kind of thing. How would you do this?
Yeah,
actually, that would be fun.
But yeah, so see more of that later.
Yes.
And then here's
Georgie.
Yeah.
And Andrew, right?
And Andrew. Yeah, Georgie and Andrew's Diamond Mine. And they drew South Africa. And they were kind of at a loss at first as to what to build in South Africa.
They were not happy. Let's just say Georgie particularly was not happy to have picked South Africa. So what's iconic down there? What can we do?
Unfortunately, it's a diamond mine. So
yeah, we thought that was an interesting choice.
Yeah. But they put, other South African wildlife in the build and the flag. So we'll see how it takes shape later. But yeah, so okay. I guess that is all 6. Yeah, India, South Africa.
Well, and since we were talking about South Africa, when we were or when the hosts were reviewing them, they were saying, well, it looks like a big diamond mine shaft, but how does that say South Africa?
Yeah.
And so their solution to that was that massive flag, which was one of my favorite parts of this build too.
I think Adai said, what was it? Designers say just label it. That's what graphic designers do. But yeah, here's the build. I guess that's all 6 builds. So we'll go right into the smashing. Are you ready, Kath?
Well, we saw the progress shots, but when we get to the smashing, we'll have the full builds there.
Yeah. So this is the full build. It's about to be smashed.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Beware.
Spoiler alert.
Be prepared for the smashing.
Yeah. So this, I wasn't sure what this red creature was. Is this a South African character?
Yeah, I didn't know what that was. The white one at the back is a Springbok, which is an animal from South Africa, and that's also the name of the South African rugby team. So Springbok.
Oh, okay.
Right, the Springbok is recognizable, and
yeah,
I'd have to ask my friend Sharon about, because she's from South Africa who lives in New Zealand, about the red creature.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the fingers on the guy. It's very neat. But yeah, curious.
I'm also, now that we know Georgie hides chameleons in every build, it's almost like you always want to look for where'd she put the chameleon, and it almost looks like it could be on the far right there, but Not sure.
I found the chameleon. We'll get to that.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so apparently, Zach Martinez thinks it might be Elmo as well as Zizou. Is Elmo from South Africa?
I really don't think so. I think it's
Elmo's very much American, surely.
Yeah. Somebody may be about to get copyright struck, but it's not Elmo officially. YouTube, don't cancel us.
I want to say it's probably a South African cartoon character. That's going to be my guess.
But yeah,
you can't unsee Elmo memes now.
Yeah. But anyway, here's some shots of the miners at work here.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, here's some more details. They
had quite a cool story about the good miners and the baddie miners, and what the baddie miners were coming to steal the diamonds and stuff. I thought that was quite cool, the way they put this story together.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's also like, we won't go there, but you can also like read into it very hard politically. But I just thought that was
Let's not do that.
No, it was just funny to me. That's all. But we'll move on. Do you know what this RSH is on the side?
So it's RSA, the letters for Republic of South Africa.
No, okay. Thought that was an H. All right, let's take a look at some more. Okay, so here's our flag.
That is such a cool flag.
It's really cool.
Love this
really
flag.
Looks like it's waving in the wind, doesn't it?
Yeah, she used a brick building technique so that she could do that. And it looks really heavy. So I think she used a Technic bar on the left to hold it steady.
Yeah, there are some, I guess you can kind of see the, let's zoom in here a little bit. Yeah, you can see the one by Technic.
Yeah, there's the Technic.
Here.
Yeah, because that has got to be heavy.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even imagine. I mean, she used a really nice technique. It looks like 1x2s with the colors. Just beautiful.
Studs and round studs and 1x2s.
Yeah, studs and plates.
Yeah. This must have taken a long time as well.
Yeah,
it turned out really well. And she also had a song to remember the colors of the South African flag.
Yes.
I don't remember exactly how it went. So.
And Glenn confirms the 1x2 plates and 1x1 round plates too. Yeah, I like using that technique for building like cylindrical tubes or walls. Yeah.
Some of the other teams use it later. It reminded me of one of the finale builds, but we'll get to that later.
We'll get to that way later.
Yeah,
it's like weeks from now.
But yeah,
that sculpting of that Springbok is amazing.
It's really good. Yeah, yes. I really enjoyed this Springbok. I love the little ears and just the way the haunches are shaped here.
And I believe that was Georgie who did that too. Because she does a lot of sculpting in many of the challenges.
Let's see what other angles. Okay, and here we go. Here is our chameleon. Here it is, right here. This guy is dreaming on the job in a minecart, and here's our chameleon for this build.
Okay, that's great. You found it.
Yeah.
Now that we know we're looking for it, then you know we can see. All right, so we ready for some Trent?
Yeah. Here's Trent, and here's Georgie's reaction to Trent. But yeah, we have more of the builds. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, here's our initial shot here. And this was a really great explosion. It hit that tower just bang on. And the tower, they made the tower in such a way that it came apart easily. So that's exactly what you want.
But I think they also made sure the flag stayed intact so that when it fell to the ground, it was still there.
Yeah. So let's see. Here's our progress.
So, Kath, how did you feel when you saw these exploding?
All I could think of was all of that work just going like that. How could they stand so calmly and excitedly? And yeah, I wanted to cry.
It goes back to us being desensitized because we've seen it so many times in different Lego Masters series that now people are expecting it, that you're going to have to build something that's going to be destroyed later.
And yeah, I've never seen Lego Masters before, so this was the first time I'd seen this.
And she still agreed to be on the show.
Yes.
Yeah, I did.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And let's see, I have a few shots of, here's the reverse angle here. This is just an amazing explosion all around. So they may not have nailed the, identifiable country bit, but this was one of the best explosions.
It did explode well. And Glenn says, all good things must come to an end. Also, not my brick.
Yeah, it would be much different if it was your thing that was getting destroyed.
Yeah. If it's your brick, does have to see explosions. And I actually have some charred bricks from the exploded brick build that who is it? Boone did for that commercial.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he did a commercial with Looney Tunes, I think, where the basketball hoop had to be exploded, and so he packed those into bags for the bunker build off as giveaways.
Oh, that's really cool.
I have burnt bricks that I'm actually keeping, which seems a little odd.
All right, so let's see. Okay, so next we have
The Banyan Tree.
Emily and Sarah's Banyan Tree.
Yes.
No, well, sorry, Kath. Any final thoughts on this build or the explosion?
No, I mean, I think the diamonds all coming out of the mine, that was amazing. Really was. I was surprised by that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised as well, but there you go. Okay, so here's our Banyan Tree. And we've got a lot of brick built characters in here that are a lot of fun. Here's a tiger. Let's see who else we have, and
we also have them playing cricket.
Yeah, this is so I guess the peacock is bowling, and the tiger is getting ready to hit. What do they call the hitter?
The humor behind this was hilarious.
Yeah.
So let's see. I even love its little hat. The hat is fun. This guy kind of peeking in the corner is fun.
Yeah, they have very whimsical builds. And I love this little, I don't know if it's a coral reef or the blue with the, I love this color combination. I'm going to have to use that sometime in the future.
This is the peacock feathers. It
yes.
Just, like this light kind of washes out the details, unfortunately. But yeah, you can kind of see the feathers, and there's a tea set here. And let's see. And there were some little peacocks up here, and they mentioned that the children had made off with the cricket balls. So that's one of these here. Yeah. Oh, sorry. That's instruction. But yeah, that was all I could get. Sometimes they don't show the builds from all the different angles. So sometimes we only get the one shot, unfortunately.
It's still an amazing build.
But yeah, here we go. Here's the initial impact here. And then they mentioned, yeah.
That is so brilliant, though. Just so colorful, too.
Yeah, they mentioned that they put a divider in here so that the blue and the orange would be kept separate until the big moment.
Yeah, I thought that was a brilliant way to do it. And during the shot, they were showing, I think it was Emily pouring things in. The little bricks, and I think they also focused on translucent ones. So then that way, when they were dispersed in the air, the light would shine on them more brilliantly.
Yeah. Let's see. And here's, you can see the reaction is still happening well after the moment of impact. Let's see. And here's from the reverse angle. Looks even more impressive. And you can see Emily and Sarah in the background.
They're like,
yeah.
And it goes back to what Kath was saying. They're actually happy it was destroyed. I just don't understand that. Yeah, because you would want that piece on a display. I mean, if you didn't know it was full of all of those smaller pieces inside. And so it's almost like a piñata in this case, where they just, everybody wants to see what's inside the piñata.
Or it's like a Banksy piece. If Banksy did Lego, he would make something like this, and then it's destroyed. And
we shall destroy it now.
Yeah. But yeah, this peacock was okay. It's just chilling here. It survived.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's
the end of the Emily and Sarah's explosion.
Yeah. So yeah, any final thoughts on this one, Kath?
This one actually, because by then I was used to what was coming. It's still upset, but I was used to it. And watching the replays, I was just fascinated by the way the different colours came out from different places. I just thought that was so clever to be able to do dividers inside the tree and split where the colours came from, and I could really see it in the replays, and I thought that was just amazing.
Yeah, and you can see the dividers here, these clear panel kind of things.
Oh, right.
Let's see. Well, that's not a good angle, but let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see a few of them like right here, so that they didn't really interfere with the reaction at all.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Cool.
Okay, moving on to Jono and Dan. Yeah. And this sheep turned out very cute, and the Kiwi guy,
it's hilarious. It's so whimsical and hilarious.
I
and
think
they had a flag too.
The flag of the silver fern is just amazing. I loved how they did that.
Yeah, let's go to the flag here. Yeah, here we go.
Look at that.
And they use swords.
All the different swords.
And scissors.
Okay, and so I have a shot of actually the silver fern flag. And yeah, can you tell us about this flag, Kath?
So that's a special flag that on the blue and the red, that's part of our New Zealand flag, which is, has all of that normally. And then the black, when we have the silver fern, it's usually on the black because, it's part of our black colour that our teams play in, and they'll have the silver fern on their chest of their uniform usually. So yeah, it's an iconic symbol of New Zealand, and this is a blending of the flags that our official flag and our sort of unofficial flag. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. I was always curious, like why the fern? Do you know why they chose a fern to represent?
So ferns are they're a native to New Zealand, and they're just, like at my house we've got lots of ferns. It's quite lots of people have them, and some ferns are green, but it is the silver fern. Some of them are green on top and silver underneath, and it's the silver part that we use as a symbol for us. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So it's like a blending of two different or different cultures and whatnot.
Yeah.
That's really
this flag is definitely that. Also, the New Zealand koru is also representative of the fern. From what I understand, the koru is a spiral of the fern.
Yes.
So when it first starts, it starts as like this little spiral, and then it unfurls into this beautiful fern. So in a way, it's also kind of acknowledging the growth that you've gone through from the start of the little koru.
Yeah. So for me, one of the one of the ways in which the flag those guys built was coming out of the centenary of the First World War. There was a sort of take on the silver fern where they had soldiers. So the instead of the leaves of the fern, they were actually soldiers standing up, and then it was kind of a faded one to represent all the soldiers that had fallen. And you had to look really carefully to see that it was soldiers and not a regular silver fern flag. And just with all of that sort of emotion that went with that flag, and then to see what they had used as they were building their Lego flag, for me there was there was a connection there with this way in which the silver fern has been used to represent the centenary of the end of World War One.
Oh, that's really interesting. I had no idea that it.
That's I'll have to look up that flag after the episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is
and it's an interesting technique, just using the top clip to connect the different swords to the plate.
Yeah, there's like 5 or 6 different kinds of weaponry here.
Yeah.
I always enjoy the metaphor of weaponry being reforged into something else.
They do that a lot with guns.
Yeah, if you've gotten the succulent set, they do that. One of the builds is using guns as flower stems. So
yeah,
it's always fun. And that's unfortunate. Who put that there? That's nobody needs to see that. I'm sorry.
I didn't know that was there.
Let's get that out of here. It's unacceptable. Okay, all right. So here's our sheep.
It goes back to the whimsy of a lot of these builds. A little sense of humor there.
I apologize to all our viewers. But
you're not sorry. You put this together.
I'm gonna have to talk with my staff.
Yeah, talk with your staff.
I'm gonna talk with my staff, and we're gonna
censors missed
sort
one.
This out. Yeah, but I really enjoy this sheep. I love the kind
sheep
of curve.
Dip.
No, Glenn, terrible. Come on, this is a family show, people. Let's not be crass. But yeah, I like these curves. I like all the cloud pieces that they use for the body and the face and stuff, and it's just fun. Yeah.
Remy and his staff.
And this I really like the eyes on this guy. They're kind of like uneven, and yeah.
Under the bus staff.
Yeah. We're gonna make some changes.
I like how his hand has like the thumbs up, we're going through with this.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was great. It reminds me of a Mr. Potato Head.
Yeah.
Just the look of it.
Yeah. So let's see. Do I have any more? Okay. So here's one final shot of the whole build, I believe. Okay. And there's the aftermath. Here's the impact. Okay. Here's the initial impact.
So I just wanted to mention Kath has to go back to work. So don't forget, folks, that right now in New Zealand, she took a late lunch so she could be on our show. So I wanted to just ask you, Kath, thank you again, and give you full screen. Thank you again for being on the show. Really appreciate you giving us your feedback. And do you have any closing words you'd like to share with us?
I'm not sure it's closing words. It's something that's bugging me. So in that, where all the bricks are, and they're all beautifully organized. Now, when my kids were little, I tried to do that, and I was the one that had to always put them away like that.
Gosh.
Who puts them away in that all those amazing boxes? I just feel for that mother.
It's actually, there's a staff for LegoMasters, and that's all they do is afterwards they pick up after all of the builds, and
they have an actual team. They have
they do have a team
whole bunch of
doing that.
people. Yeah.
Oh, so it's not just one mother. Well, that's good anyway.
It's
Look,
like
I have so enjoyed being here and joining in with the conversation, both in the chat and with you both. So thank you so much. You've opened a whole new world for me. Thank you.
Well, yeah, and thank you, Kath, because we don't, have access to the New Zealand culture. So, we learn things that just go over our heads every episode.
Yeah.
So it's really helpful,
especially
to learn that stuff.
That nuanced point about the uniform. We would have never known that. So you really provided some really good contribution with that and other little tidbits. And we look forward to chatting with you again soon. At least I will be on one of our future meetings. So.
Sure will. Thanks a lot again. Bye-bye.
Okay, take care. Bye.
Yes, this is the moment in every show where we're trying to figure out, like, I want to leave. How do I do it?
That's okay.
Yes.
Well, I think that's why it's nice. Oops, wrong view. How come I did that?
I don't know.
I'm trying to give
what's
this
happening.
view. There we go. We've been inviting guests on the show, and because we're trying to broadcast this at 6:00 Pacific so that our East Coast people still have access to it. But then we're also inviting guests from New Zealand, which is their lunch hour because it's during the week. So there may be, towards the end of our series, we may be shifting the time in order to accommodate weekend schedules. Yeah. So we might do this on a Friday or a Saturday right towards the end when we do the finale. So
because they're also in the future, correct?
What's that?
They're also in the future.
They're in the future.
So,
yes.
But no, Lena, this is a sheep, not a goat.
No, the goat.
They wouldn't destroy a goat. They're not that cool.
Sheep are very common in New Zealand.
But yeah, so here's our impact.
Yes.
And unfortunately, it hits the sheep kind of dead center and kind of missed the kiwi fruit. So that was a little unfortunate, but yeah, we can see the collapsing sheep.
And the kiwi just kind of rolls over, which is part of the design of the kiwi too, or the kiwi fruit. So maybe that was a little too strong. Maybe they needed to weaken it a little bit. Sheep outnumber people in New Zealand.
Well, that's there's a horror script in there somewhere.
Oh no. Lena says Lego animals were harmed in the making of the show.
That is true. We need the Lego
We
ASPCA.
have more animals.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we have more animals that are going to be destroyed in this show.
Speaking of, this is a great reaction shot from them.
Yes. Yeah, look at Jono. It's like, oh, no, not my work. And Dan's like, oh.
Darn. But yeah, they filled the sheep with red. So that was like really graphic, like the most graphic you can get with Lego, really. So it's just let me see if I have
Hello,
the shower.
Mayo Hosco, and you're at work too. Glad to have you join us. Yeah, look at the aftermath of that poor sheep.
The poor sheep looks like a crime scene. But yeah, you can see where they tried to make the discs and like slot the discs in the kiwi. So yeah. Just unfortunate. Sometimes the pitcher doesn't place it where you want.
Right. Well, I think though you're right. There was a lot of thought that went behind not just the build from the exterior, but the interior of the build because they knew it was going to be destroyed.
Yeah.
Because from the outside, you don't see any of that red on that sheep.
No. I was kind of shocked when I saw it. I was like, whoa. That's That's a dead Lego sheep.
And they put the little sheep dip too for this.
Yeah, they put the sheep dip.
They could have put a little more brown on the interior too.
Well, yeah, maybe. but yeah,
yes, and I agree, Lena. It was an interesting idea to fill it with red.
Yeah, great build. Just fell a little short in the destruction category, but that's okay. But now here is Liam and Emily's Canadian Welcome Center. And yeah, this turned out to be a pretty cool build here. We've got our moose on the top.
Yes.
Robin said he liked the moose antlers because they were scooped and not just horns everywhere. Let's see what else we got. Here's our Canadian flag and our Mountie. And this is our maple syrup vats that are just blowing out of Canada.
I'm laughing because of the chat. The chat is going crazy about the sheep. So the brown was already all scared out of the sheep.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And that build made Lena sheepish.
Oh boy. But yeah, here's I'm not sure what's up with this guy, but he has maple syrup all over him.
Yeah, I wasn't really too excited about this build. I mean, the whole idea of maple syrup, I guess if you're trying to think of Canada, I guess, yeah, maple leaf, maple tree, but I don't know. I was expecting more red. I think that might be part of it. There was way more brown in this than I would have expected for a Canadian build.
Yeah, I wonder like how far into the build that they, because they were starting to make this beaver head. And I wonder how much time that they ate up, like before they pivoted.
Yeah, that's a shame. But even the beaver itself, I mean, when you think of Canada, beaver isn't the first thing that comes to your mind, right? When you say the word Canada, do first thing is usually maple leaves, red, maybe Royal Mounties, and there's but beaver was like, really? Okay. Maybe because it's easier to build, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. So when this build came together, it looked like a visitor center, which is, I guess, what they designed. But I was expecting a lot more red.
Signage. Yeah, this is a good sign any other week. But, in a week where, really the signage is kind of out of control this week. So this is just, kind of mid-tier signage. Still great. But
really like maple syrup.
Yeah. But here's our moose. The moose is good. I love the
moose was awesome.
Yeah. I love just the whole head
and the snow. Also Canada, they could have gone the hockey route, right? Like a big hockey stick or something. Yeah.
They could have gone. Like Amy and Adam had the kangaroo. They could have had the hockey player and really. They cartooned it up. But,
I would have expected a hockey player with a big maple leaf on the front of the jersey.
Well, so here we see our initial point of impact here with the cricket ball. And by the way, they mentioned that they were traveling at 60 kilometers an hour. But I don't know how fast that is because we don't use that system here in America. So I'll assume it was very fast.
Well, I mean, we could probably calculate it because a 5K race is 3.1 miles.
Oh boy.
Right. So
I cannot calculate
if it's 60 kilometers per hour, I'm just
Somebody
guessing.
In the chat.
Here.
Work it out in the chat. Come on.
Yeah, work it out.
Somebody tell us how fast it is in miles an hour.
Well, let's see. I just said 5K is 3.1. So 6.2 for 10. So
Glenn says 37 miles an hour.
37 miles per hour. Okay.
Which doesn't sound like much, but it's when you're,
there. I was talking out loud. Google it.
Impacting a Lego build. It's a lot. Okay. Thank you. Let's see. So
I wonder though, doesn't that seem kind of slow? 37 miles per hour? Because baseball players can throw like 90
I mean, it does, but when you're like from a stop, just kind of impacting a Lego build. It's pretty fast.
Oh yeah, it's still fast, but I'm
Yeah.
wondering if it was ratcheted down deliberately, because maybe if you get it too high, it might break the actual pieces.
Maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
What
I'm just
the
talking out loud.
no, it would be curious. Like Mythbusters, get on that. What's the force you need to break Lego bricks?
To
Not
actually
to build
destroy
over,
the plates.
actually, like
I seriously, I do think they probably ratcheted it down specifically because you need enough impact to burst the build, but not too much that you're actually going to destroy the plates, because they need to reuse them, right?
Yeah, and when they figure it out, they can't use like the reddish brown or the dark red bricks, because those are the most brittle. You got to use like basic colors, black, blue, green, solid
Maybe
colors.
they had to calculate that too. Maybe because this one was a build that used a lot of brown.
Oh, I also just realized that nobody's wearing safety glasses in this episode. So
that's true. They make you wear them in the United States.
Yeah.
maybe they've got more lenient laws there.
Maybe.
Lena says, I should know, I have a fancy tech job.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's why I said that out loud. Yeah, baseball pitchers can hit over 100 miles per hour. That's why I said that seems 37 miles per hour seems kind of slow.
Yeah, it's definitely like slow relative to the MLB.
I have a feeling my theory is correct. Sort of a difficult competition in regards to being sensitive to stereotypes. Not criticism, but glad I didn't have to make those decisions. Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, you're right, Zisu. We'll get to the Australian build in a moment. It's really pushing the envelope there out of all the builds.
That's true.
I think it's fine because they're New Zealanders and they can do that to each other's countries. But
it's like trash talking with NFL teams, right?
Yeah.
But going back to this, I think kind of to the stereotype question, if they had put a hockey player, would that have been more stereotypical than a Canadian center like this? Or maybe maple syrup?
I think, the hockey player and the Mountie are like
those are iconic.
They're like things that the country is proud of. So I don't.
And Glenn and Jake, when we get to their build, they did one of those the guards, the Royal Guards.
Yeah,
too.
the Beefeaters. And really, like Jono and Dan did a Kiwi riding a sheep. And,
but that's their own country.
That's
so
their
kind
culture,
given allowance for that, right?
Yeah. So I would not build that.
Especially the sheep with red in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were allowed because they're New Zealanders, right?
They're New Zealanders. They live there.
Yeah.
Go crazy. I would, I'm Italian. I would, bust out some Italian stereotype or something. Mafioso. I don't know what I would build.
And maybe the countries they picked,
Pizza.
they deliberately picked ones that maybe don't have as strong stereotypes too. Maybe they did that intentionally.
Well, they picked them based on like cricket teams prowess.
Oh, that's true.
So I think that was the one
that
of
was the criteria.
It just happened to be like, yeah. I mean, you could have, yeah.
Italian chef.
I wrote down the how well the build represents the cricketing nation. So, but yeah, there's some wiggle room in there. I'm glad we saw, a banyan tree, and maybe not Bollywood from Emily.
Right, or the Taj Mahal or something.
The tree and the animals were good.
Yeah, the tree was just beautiful. But this one was interesting, just their choice to represent Canada.
Yeah, Canada, not only do they have a cricket team, at the top of the episode, Robin mentioned that they were one of the first world champions in some form of cricket.
That's true.
But yeah, anyway, here's our welcome center. It's getting smashed. You can see it hit the it hit the welcome center pretty much dead center, but unfortunately, like this part didn't break away.
Yeah, that was just too sturdy.
Too sturdy. Yeah, it's hard to build, to break apart.
Yeah,
and this is
very
the
true.
moose flying through the air. That's what this is. So yeah, here's the reverse angle. And you can kind of see it kind of cascading out through here. The red and the white. And there you go. There's probably the best view of it.
Yep.
Let's see. Okay, so yeah, now here we come to Amy and Adam's kangaroo.
Mr. Evans is here. Hello. We were given rules around what we couldn't use in this build. Cultural icons mostly out. So is this one of the contestants?
Yeah, do we have a celebrity on the show?
Do we have a contestant in the chat?
Because that's awesome. We really enjoyed the whole season. Yeah. We really enjoyed the whole season and all the builds.
Mr. Evans. Is that did we have a
I don't know.
I'm looking at the photo. Can we identify this person
zoom
in the chat?
No, it's okay. But yeah, welcome.
Welcome.
Yeah, please at any time feel free to correct us if we get something wrong or if we miss a detail.
This is Glenn.
Glenn from Taking Glenn.
From Taking Glenn. Welcome.
Yeah. Welcome.
We haven't gotten to your build yet, so you can chat and tell us more. In fact, we had a question about the clips earlier. This is great. Welcome to the stream.
Okay.
And Glenn says hello, Glenn.
But yeah, let's talk about this kangaroo because speaking of cultural appropriation, this is just some kind of cheeky fun poking at the Australians here. But there's a lot of details in this that are really amazing.
I could see why a cultural icon like the Taj Mahal would be out because that is a tomb, right? So to have something destroyed, which is a tomb and very revered in India, that would be terrible. Yes, we're gonna get inside info. This is great.
So excited. All right, we're just gonna skip this build and we'll go on to the next one.
Well, how much time do you have, Glenn? Because I think it's in the middle of your work day as well. Which one was next after this one? Did you have?
I believe this is. Hang on. Yeah.
Okay, you're next. Right after this.
Yeah, next.
Okay, so let's get to because this one talk about stereotypes, right?
Yeah. But I just, I love like massive creatures. I love the flip flops on the kangaroo. I love the hat. I love the little grill over here. He's got the grill.
Barbie.
He's got his shrimp on the Barbie.
It's a Barbie.
It's a Barbie. Excuse me. Just all around great. The drink.
Yes.
And
then
also
the surfboard too.
Yeah, the surfboard is fun.
Yeah.
And just the kangaroo is wearing a tank top and a thong. Like, are you kidding me?
I noticed they didn't mention that on the show, but it was pretty obvious.
No, they didn't talk about it, but we're going to talk about it.
We could talk about it because it's our show.
Yeah.
Right.
The hat with the dangling.
The dangling corks was awesome.
Is this a thing in Australia? But yeah, those are just another fun dimension to it, and also this shot right here, the sandpaper and the cricket ball.
Yes.
This refers to a major cricket scandal that happened in Australia in, I want to say, 2018. But yeah, it was like bigger than Deflategate because they were caught actually like using sandpaper on a cricket ball in one of those
for better traction, or I guess.
Yeah, it improves the grip in some way. Lena. That just seems incorrect. But they were caught using sandpaper in one of those test matches, which are the ones that go on for 5 days. So at the very height of competitive play.
And for those of you who don't know what Deflategate is, that is when the Patriots were caught deflating the air in the footballs. So then that way Brady would have a better grip on it.
Yeah.
And apparently, so this whole scandal was brought to light in this build, which is kind of surprising since, you know, we heard earlier from Mr. Evans that you weren't allowed to do cultural icons. So I'm surprised they got away with that, honestly.
Yeah. Because they definitely mentioned the sandpaper. Like, yeah, we put sandpaper.
We put sandpaper too, maybe because it was so subtle.
Yeah, it is very
subtle.
Got
away with it.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, Glenn.
Oh, great, Glenn. Thank you for that. And for those of you who don't know, Glenn is one of the mods on the Brickanista Broadcast Network. So he's always great at pulling up these details.
So imagine, you know, Deflategate, but like imagine like literally everybody in America watching football, playing football in their pastimes. And also imagine like Brady retiring after that, like being forced to retire. That's how big a deal it was.
Yeah, they actually had an investigation too for that. Yeah. So Sandpaper, it was hilarious.
Yeah.
And there it is. There's the destruction.
Somebody mentioned they like the water. I also like the water details. I couldn't get any closer shots of it, unfortunately.
Yeah, the water was amazing too. I mean, just the whole beach life is big in both New Zealand and in Australia. So, and I think because the other thing I was going to mention is the ball was actually strategically centered for this particular build.
Yeah. It hits like dead center. Let me move on here. So we get a really nice
nice explosion.
And here's our green and gold. And they put a lot of snakes and crabs in here instead of like regular pieces. So
that's a big joke in New Zealand, is that, you know, New Zealand has like no poisonous snakes or any kind of like poisonous spiders and snakes and things. Whereas if you go to Australia, everything will kill you. You know? So that's why there's a lot of people who do a lot of camping in New Zealand, because you can like go out in the wilderness and not worry about, you know, something, you know, biting you and killing you. But that's not the case in Australia. So that's why all the snakes are there.
Okay. Yeah, that's good to know.
I went to a zoo where they had the Hillsville Sanctuary. I can't talk today. And they have a whole exhibit of the poisonous snakes and spiders that are there. And it was like, yeah, you don't want to mess with going to Australia.
No. But yeah, here's a shot from the reverse angle. You can see just everything.
And there's Mr. Evans in the background. There's Glenn.
Yep. And yeah, they talked about how like everything they were being really careful, like putting this together because just of how it was very loosely connected. And yeah, there's our just fabulous explosion here.
And if you want, Mr. Evans, I can also send you the link if you want to join us live in the chat. Let us know.
No pressure, but you know, basically standing invite. Really, anyone from New Zealand who wants to come in and set us straight.
Set us straight. Yeah, that's one thing we know, that we are ignorant Americans in many ways. So that's why I've been inviting my New Zealand friends to be a part of this, and it's great to have you here. So yeah, if you are interested, I will send you the link. You can send me an Instagram chat on Brickanista Instagram, and I'll send it to you.
So yeah, here's the guarding T build, and this is also a really fun build with a really great character. So let's see. So yeah, here's our guard, and they did mention in the episode, because he's got the corgi under one arm.
Yes, and you know I love corgis.
Protecting the corgi, and then he had you had to jump in front of the tee to try to prevent the cricket ball from
Yes.
impacting the tee.
And protect the corgi at all costs.
And they did mention in the episode where they talk about like there's a butt on that corgi, because of course there always is, but of course they didn't have that they didn't show it from that angle.
They didn't show the corgi butt, which is unfortunate.
So we'll just have to just imagine it. But yeah, the guard is really great. This is a really good use of like these kind of tiles here.
Right.
And all these buttons.
Yeah. So if Mr. Evans, if you have any inside information about the corgi butt or the Royal Guard, I loved this. This really is a tribute to England. A lot of what we associate with English culture.
And this, just besides, this teapot is technically like really good. So yeah, we were wondering how this interior was constructed.
Oh, okay. He's watching at work. We wanted to include the ball in the story. So he's diving in front to save the tea. Yeah. And also this is was it the 70th anniversary of Her Majesty the Queen being in power? So there's a huge jubilee that I think either just finished or is going on right now. Yes, and the corgi had a butt. Yes.
We knew it.
We knew it. Inside information.
How did you build this teapot here? We were just curious about that. Was it all like clips and bars on the inside, or?
Yeah, that technique looks.
Yeah, go into very technical detail right now if you don't mind, but no, it's okay.
Well, and since you're here, you have a standing invitation to come on any of the shows in the future too, Mr. Evans. So
yeah, here's another shot of this diagonal yard.
Well, the other thing I loved about this build is that they did a full figure of the Royal Guard. So the Royal Guard is, the entire Royal Guard. It's not just the head and not just like a bust figure. And that takes a lot of work to do that. So I'm not sure if you can tell from this shot or not, or if Mr. Evans can tell us if this is almost like a mech where the legs are movable. I think they might be.
I don't know if the legs are moved. It looks pretty solid.
Is it?
Yeah,
because it's designed to break.
Yeah, but it looks pretty solid in the sense that I don't know that these legs are posable.
Oh, okay.
Zizou says he loves the strong diagonal.
Yes.
Of the guard. So yeah, I'm sure it was tough to stabilize. But yeah, the strong diagonal line is a good contrast to the relative. Like you have your diagonal, you have your cylinder, you have your square, you have all the shapes.
Right.
So let's see. Oh, here's another shot of it. Oh, maybe like it's hard to tell from this angle because this looks like one solid piece, but it looks like this leg is actually like marching forward.
So the teapot was super fragile. It was brackets and hinge plates, and the legs were solid. The body and the head were hollow and filled with blue bricks. Okay. Thank you.
That's
See?
cool.
Inside info.
Yeah, hinge plates.
Thank you so much.
Also very useful. So okay, let's smash it.
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah.
Here's our initial impact, and the corgi is safe.
But the corgi's now traumatized because the head of the guard just like exploded.
Yeah, it's the corgi eyes kind of look surprised in that shot now. But yeah, this, having this really solid backdrop against this very explosive container was also a great idea.
Yeah. To give it the contrast. Yeah.
There it is. Like all the pieces just bounce forward.
Yeah. And it's interesting that they filled the body with blue bricks. And if they had followed what Dan and Jono did with red, it would have really been a bloodbath, right?
The guard with red.
Yes, I know. It's like, no,
that would have been too much.
So that was very tasteful that you used blue.
Yeah, the blue.
Yep.
But yeah, here we go. Yeah, and you can see from the back, like the initial impact. Just here's all the blue. Here's all the blue.
Blue bloods.
Yeah,
that's what they call them in the U.S. For
Yeah.
those of you who don't know about the blue bloods are the nickname
the
for
royalty.
Well,
Well,
it is for royalty, but in the United States for police officers.
oh well, yeah, that too.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
I think there's a whole show of the blue bloods.
Yeah, I
right?
just for some reason I just don't think of like those guards as police officers,
Oh.
but I guess they are.
Here's another detail.
Wow.
There were tiny
Yeah.
scones and cucumber sandwiches inside, but they didn't show well on the camera.
That's so smart.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cucumber sandwiches.
Let's see.
Wow,
if
that
we
must have taken a lot of time. Did you
Yeah.
probably what? White,
See
green,
some
and
strips
white.
in here.
Wow. Fantastic
Let's
build. Yes. Thank
see
you.
if I can
Yeah, see, I love
find-
this. And look at that reaction shot of Mr. Yvonne's.
Hang on. Let me. Okay, here we go. Here's a cucumber sandwich. Look, there they are.
Oh.
Um,
And I guess the others are scones there too.
I guess. But yeah, this is a great reaction shot.
Yes.
And
That
yeah,
is
you can
great.
see
And-
Adam like poking around the side here.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so yeah, that was
And so that's the final.
the final
Build.
impact.
And so glad Mr. Yvonne's was here to give us that detail. You had a question earlier though about the clip.
Oh
you
yeah,
asked about
he
the
answered
clip.
it about the structure, the internal structure of the teapot was
Brackets and hinge plates.
Mhm. And yeah, you can like I actually made a video about this last night and put it on my Instagram channel. Like whenever you make a structure with hinge plates, it's always like super bendy. So you have to like put cross beams in it.
Mm-hmm.
And like you can like you can get one side of it. You know, it's always easy to get like the vertical, but then the horizontal, getting it straight across to have like a round shape is always like there's always like a weird remainder there. So it's hard to brace it horizontally. So
Well, they didn't want to brace this one though.
Right. I don't know if that was their exact process, but
I'm so glad you provided that detail though, because
yeah.
we wouldn't be looking for cucumber sandwiches otherwise.
No, but they're definitely in there. We see them now.
Thank you for
like
sharing
here's
that.
another one.
Yeah.
That might be one. There's one.
And I think the brown is chocolates because often for afternoon tea you'll have chocolate, cucumber sandwiches, or watercress and scones or scones, as we say in the U.S.
Oh,
That's
and
great.
yeah, here we go. We can actually see a little bit of the internal structure here with these brackets.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So that's a neat detail. Anyway, great job, you guys.
Yes.
This was really fun.
Yes, and getting the math right for the horizontal is tricky. Yes, definitely, Zizou.
Yeah. Oh, I figured it out, Zizou. You go watch my channel. No, basically you have your vertical and your horizontal never matches up. But if you use a 2x plate and you put a brick separator in the horizontal, it bridges that gap.
A brick separator.
And then like because the brick separator is 2 bricks wide or 2 studs wide. So you clamp it on there, and not only does it hold your horizontal in place, like it just fits perfectly over that gap. So you know,
make sure you follow his channel, Instagram.
Yeah, stop messing with the jumper plates and all that nonsense and trying to like get it in there. Just use your brick separator.
Are you going to apply for LegoMasters US sometime?
I mean, I always apply. They just didn't call me. But thanks for dredging up that.
That's why we have our own show, because we're never accepted into LegoMasters.
Yeah. So anyway, use your horizontal. End of story. But anyway, yeah, the top 2 were Amy and Adam, and then Emily and Sarah, just by virtue of their massive explosion.
Yes.
But yeah, there were a lot of great builds.
So spoiler alert coming for those of you who haven't seen the show yet.
Yeah.
We're going to tell you who won this challenge.
That's the last slide I have. So,
dun dun dun.
Yeah. The winner is Amy and Adam and their kangaroo. So they win an advantage in the next build. So next week we'll have an elimination, and they get an advantage in that elimination build.
Because there are only 6 teams for this series, and it's 9 episodes. So clearly they couldn't eliminate everybody and still keep the show going.
Yeah, they couldn't like double elimination on week 2, you know.
And Sizu thanks you for another use for the brick separator.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
I found that accidentally and it blew my mind. So please use it, enjoy it.
Yes. That was awesome. That was awesome. And also, I just wanted to mention, since Mr. Evans is here, that our next week's guest is actually a special guest, because I haven't announced this yet, but one of my guests, Sean Farr, or I think she goes by Sean. She might go by Sion. She is also a friend of mine that I also know as Kath. I know through Toastmasters. She works with Rebecca Roos, and Rebecca Roos is the wife of Jake Roos, who's the partner of Mr. Evans, Glenn here. So we're going to get the perspective of a wife of a contestant during the show, who's also in New Zealand. So we're really excited that those two will be with us. We're also going to have Chief Brick Geek again from last time, from Las Vegas, because on the Wednesdays, the 4th Wednesdays of the month, I have to work. I have a board meeting I have to go to. So right at the top of the hour, I will have to exit. And then Remy and also Chief Brick Geek Lauren will continue with the show. But super, super excited that to have everybody here. Mr. Evans, thank you so much for dropping in. I don't know how you found us, but we're glad you're here. And welcome to have you in the future as a guest, or if you want to, we can chat some more. And Zitu, Glenn Copeland, Lena, Zach Martinez, Brickaroo Bonsai, everybody who's been tuned in, really, really appreciate you hanging out with us. Don't forget that you can like and subscribe to the stream.
We are constantly on the hunt for the elusive like and subscribe.
But please like and subscribe to the stream, because as you know, it's no cost to you to do that, and it helps us out. For those of you who forgot, I'm go by Kahu in New Zealand. That's my nickname, Kahurangi. So Brick Kahunista here when we're doing these review shows. Once again, thank you, Remy, for hanging out and doing this. So follow him on Brick Literacy on Instagram. That was here earlier, Organic Crafter on Instagram.
2 C's.
And just a reminder too, we were talking about the rainbow earlier. So I am hosting, along with a bunch of people, I'm just going to give myself full screen real quick. We're doing something called the Brick Scouts Rainbow Box Surprise. It's just a challenge where we are making 4 boxes and then leaving a note inside that says, play well, keep or rehide. Have a nice day. Because there's so many people out there who talk about their hauls and all of this stuff that they're buying, but we're trying to encourage people to give things away. So that's something that the Brick Scouts are doing this month. So feel free to jump in if you're interested in that. It's just something that we just started doing.
Just to randomly brighten someone's day. They come across a Lego box.
Day, exactly. Yeah. And I'm so glad, Mr. Evans, you're enjoying the stream. Yes. This is something we do Wednesdays. And if you want to, you can tune in to last week's episode where my cousin Kingy was on. We learned a lot about culture. And I think, do you also, Mr. Evans, wear a tonga? Like I have mine here. This is a Manaya. But if you do, feel free to tell us what you wear, because we got a history lesson about the tongas last week.
Yeah, we're always interested in the cultural aspects.
In the cultural references, exactly. So next week, Remy and I will be streaming at the same time. And then we are going to be at Bricks by the Bay.
Yes.
And we still have the Mega Micropolis Metropolis Multiverse at
Mhm.
Bricks by the Bay. If you're planning to go, 16 by 16 Micropolis build. It's on my Discord server. So if you want to participate, please let us know, because we need to get them registered by the 19th. In 4 days, we need to get that done.
What is that, Sunday?
Yes.
The 19th?
The 19th. Yeah, it's Sunday. It needs to be registered. But once again, thank you everybody for hanging out with us. It's been so much fun. And just the surprise from Mystery Vons. Thank you for joining us. And as they say on the Brickanista Broadcast Network, thank you, and may the clutch be with you. Take care, everybody. Bye.